arrays of fields that you can do with the session program, especially if you're working with your database applications, or maybe you're trying to create your hash file or protecting your program for the intruders. And at the same time, of course, augmenting your session to your cookies. So you can do lots of things. Now, what if we will create a session that will create a counter here? So it's very simple. All you have to do is to, of course, we will add this program, another program for that. And then let's say we have here the counter for string. And then the purpose of this is, of course, we need to check, of course, the number of times that the website is visited by a visitor. So we have here counter. So we're gonna use, of course, the counter right here. So we can use, of course, 0. Okay, here at the top. So we need, this is part where we need to, what you call this, initialize the counter. So the counter is like you increase the counter every time that you what you call this, initialize the counter every time that you visit a website. Okay, initialize the session variable. Okay, next, what will happen if you have this counter now? So we're gonna use this counter, but again, I will erase this. Okay, let us erase this thing. Then we will create a condition here. So if, let's say, we have here iset. Okay, so iset is just like you are trying to check if, of course, the variable is alive or not. And common, what you call this, explanation. So session, and then we're gonna check, of course, here xx. Now we have the xx right here. So what will happen if you have the xx? We're gonna use, of course, this statement right here, end. Okay, end, and then iset, and then string session. Remember about, of course, the grammar in programming. That's quite very important. This is, of course, the logical operator, and this is, of course, the bitwise operator. So we're gonna use, of course, the end here, and we will use open, of course, the counter. Okay, so if counter, okay, so we have the counter right there. Okay, let's check right here. If, of course, activated session x and I set session counter, then we'll have to increment the counter here. So we can say string, and then we have to use session, and then it's very simple, counter, and then we use plus equals 1. That is the counter. Okay, now since we have the counter right here, of course, we just provide here, of course, the message downstairs now. The question is, are we going to put the else statement? No more, or maybe we can use it later on. But again, for me, that is quite complete already. So I can use echo. Okay, okay, marking the counter. Okay, so just this is only the message we're in. I would like to check if this program is working or not. So the purpose now, what is our purpose here? We're gonna go to this program, and then at the same time, we're gonna check if the session is still alive, and if the session is true, automatically we're gonna what you call this print, of course, the number of counters, number of sites that this items is visited. At the same time, we're gonna display the picture or any picture. Okay. Okay. Now let us run this program and save this program. So if I set session xx and I set session counter, so remember you have a counter here. If the session is instigated, we will create an incrementation here. This is how to what? Increment the value of 1, the value of the counter by 1. Okay, so that's how you do it. So let us save it here and then save it. Okay, let us check for our website. Where's that website? We're gonna check right here and then go right here. Let us check that. So this is where we destroy first the session. Remember about this to destroy the session. So if you want to destroy the session, we have the code right here. Okay, session start, session destroy. Okay, let's go back to our website. Not the website, but to our program. Okay, now we're gonna what to destroy the session. Dest point destroy. So we destroy the session right here, and our program is, of course, not that. we created our own destroyer, and this is our destroyer. Okay, counter session check the visitors now. Okay, this is where I'm sorry, cl.php. I'm sorry. So this is on destroy, right? Now I already cleared up the session, and we'll check if the program is correct or not. p1.php. So marking the counter. So this is now running. Okay, we have here marking the counter in the first part, PHP. Now we'll check this counter in P2. Okay, now we will remember the two session variable. We have the xx and the counter. If the session is activated, automatically we need to increment the value of the x by 1. xx by 1. So what happened if we will modify this program? Now, I will now again, okay, echo. So let's say we're gonna change this. Okay, checking the counter. Okay, so checking the counter, we have to check it at the same time. Okay, and then we will print a session for that counter. So open that double quotation, a single quotation, and we'll print the counter right here. Let us check if that counter is working. So we're gonna check if this counter is incrementing by 1. All right, so we're gonna save it again, save, and then go back to our program. Okay, where's that program? Okay, now I will go to P2. So this is P1, this is P2.php. So remember, he's the owner of this site, Arnold, checking the counter 1. Let us check it again. Okay, I don't know what happened, but the counter is not functioning. Okay, let us check it here. So we have here the counter, checking the counter system plus counter. I will put, of course, plus equals 1. Let us check that. Okay, I will put it here, file, and then save. All right, let us move here and then check it here. Okay, that's moving. As you can see, this is moving. So now, what is the relation of this code to the first part? Okay, the relation is just like, of course, the PHP engine is storing all the session in its special location. Wherein, when you retrieve that across the website, or maybe in the other program, external program, it can still be remembered. All right. So this is how we create it. We have XX, we have the counter, and we have, of course, uh, the session global statement here. And then we retrieve it here in the other side of the code. So x plus 1. So now let us again, I want to provide here, of course, now, echo. Of course, the orientation wherein we will bring the cursor to the next line. Okay. All right, that's it. And then, all right, we will put here, of course, h2. Okay, just to provide, of course, the feeling of using this thing. And then we have here point, and then, of course, h2. Okay, that's it. So we're gonna save that. Okay, or maybe we can provide style. Okay, using the internal CSS statement, and then we're gonna use what, orange, for the session. Okay, that's it. So we're gonna save this thing. Okay, file, save, and then we'll go back to our program here. Okay, let us go back again here and then refresh. Okay, there is an error in line 9. Okay, let's bind on error. So echo, and then we have here checking counter, session, counter, and I don't know what is the error here. Okay, so we're gonna check it here. Okay, that is okay. Let's make it simple. Okay, that's it. Make it simple. Okay, first, that's a technique in programming. Okay, just start first with the basics of thing, and then of course use, of course, the period. Period is just like your concatenation, and we have here checking the counter, and then we have here, of course, string session, and then counter plus equals 1, and then we have, of course, let us check that. Okay, file save. This is very simple, minor error. Okay, let us save it again. Okay, save. All right, let us move in our main program. Let us check. Oops. Okay. Just want to make it simple right here. And then the counter session. Okay, we'll make it a simple one. Checking the counter. And then h2. I think I missed something. And then string. This is how we put it. Okay, this is the expedite our code. And then counter. Okay, plus 1. Oops. Wrong. Plus 1. Okay, let's run it, roll it out, save it. Okay, go right here. Voila. So we have checking the counter. Now we have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is how you create your program using the session. Okay, and of course, no, you can pick down the code, you can develop your own, and maybe of course you can use the smooth, cascading style sheets for your program, wherein you have the bootstrap, and every time that you move to the different pages, it will create a counter. Or maybe you can use a counter for your passwords and, of course, other credentials. So at the bottom of this, of course, you have the counter, and maybe you can, of course, add ornamental part of the counter. How to do that? Well, of course, we can call, of course, the page to be displayed. For example, you have this page right here, just for the sake of let's say, making things clear to us, all of us. Okay, so we have here, okay, we have here plus, oops, we have here screen pop. As you can see, if we press, of course, the refresh button, this will, of course, create animations of counter incrementation by 1. Why? Because, okay, because in this code, we increment it by 1. At the same time, the counter was forwarded to the first part of the code. That was the session. This is, of course, the variable of the session, the counter, and we initialize it by 0. Now, we instigate if the session is X, and of course, if the session counter is alive, automatically it will increment by 1, and we mark things as marking the counter. Now, after that, if we open the program in p2.php, well, of course, sessions are recalled. So the owner is, of course, of the session is, meaning to say, the owner is Arnold. As you can see, if we check again the code, of course, no, I think you did not notice that. So this is the owner, Arnold. Now, what if we start with a session in next space, that though we did not, of course, instigate the first space. Now, we will first, what you call this, erase the session here. We will erase the session by means of using that cl.php. For example, no, of course, no, the P2 program is very simple. Okay, so the P2 program right here, well, of course, we started the session, but again, of course, we may immediately print the session of XX, but the session is not initialized in P2, of course. This was initialized in P1. Same thing with the counter. What will happen if we did not, of course, initialize this in P2 and we started to run the program in this code? We are just, sim, uh, simulating the under page of the site where the hacker will run the program without using the first part of the program. Okay, so this is how you do it. Okay, but again, let us check, of course, what will happen. Now, we destroy the session and then we start with p2.php. What will happen? So you have here, you have the check-in of counter, but again, there is no owner right now because we have here the undefined array key xx. Meaning to say, there is no global array function, array values for the xx. So undefined array key counter also in line 10. So we can what you call this, we can fix this thing by means of using the try and catch thing. Okay. Now we will start here. Now, if this is the session, we of course we're gonna use of course the try. The purpose of try is this is how to create exceptions for the thing. That's how you to mitigate, of course, the system process. So we have to use the try and catch. Okay. Here we have the try and catch, and at the same time we can use, of course, the catch. What's that catch right here? We can use, of course, the exception. And then this is your constant, and then we have to create, of course, the variable e. Okay, that's how you did it. And at the same time, of course, we're gonna print, of course, the exception right here, echo, and then string e, and then we're gonna call, of course, the associated statement for that, and then we're gonna call well, of course, the message, the error. Okay, is that correct? Okay, or we're gonna print, of course, the error. Okay, echo, and then e, string e, and then I forgot. I mean, and then we're gonna print, of course, the error here. But of course, I'll just replace it with a string e. Okay, let us check it now. So this is just like you creating your try and catch statement. If you were able to watch, of course, my Python program and how to try and catch at the same time, if the value is not well defined, automatically it won't display, of course, the error message from the program. But of course, the system will control the program by means of the try and catch error. Now let us run this program again if this is correct, and then the purpose of this is, of course, for us to have a good journey in using the session. So P2, of course, checking the counter 2, as you can see, well, of course, it's working. But again, there is no owner in the website. Okay, let us run it again. Let us destroy the session. Okay, cl.php. Let us run the P2 here, p2.php. So there is an error right here. Okay, there's an error right here. Now, if we want to fix this error so that we can remember all the sessions, and the target here is, this is to avoid, to test this line here, we're gonna fix this code. Okay, for example, okay, we will create a program here at the other side of the code. So let's say we have here, if we create another condition, create another condition to check the session. Okay, it's very simple. So if, let's say we have here string I set, and then string session, and then we have to use what, counter. All right, that's the counter, right? Oops, sorry about that. And then we have to use right here. Okay, if I set session is was a counter, what will happen? So we're gonna have to check, of course, this thing. All right, we'll transfer this thing at the top. Control C. Okay, this is Control C, Control C, and then we're gonna transfer it from the top. Okay. Okay, let us erase this thing. If I set session counter, meaning to say we already declared counter in the first part. So it will remember the owner of the website. It will display the number of, will display the owner of the owner, of course. And then at the same time else, we're gonna print here echo. Oops, session. There's something is wrong. All right, that's it. And at the same time, of course, we have here, of course, the first part. If this is instigated, and the same type of counter is part of the session, this will remember the owner of the website and print the owner of the website. At the same time, this will print the number of times sessions marked to the program. Now, if something is wrong. So after that, what will happen? We're gonna use, of course, okay, let us move this out. We're gonna use this thing. So catch exception E echo string E. What does it mean? So if the statement at the top is not correct, automatically, well, of course, whatever error coming from the program, it won't be displayed. But again, it will display something like this. All right. So we're gonna use this. Okay. Catch expectation E, or maybe we can use, of course, the throw new and then exception. This is to catch the error. Then, of course, this we call it oops. Again, this is wrong. Okay. So let us check again our code. Okay. Remember, we have here, of course, the following statement at the top. This is for your if and else statement. So we have the try, and we have the if else statement here. We have the catch, and at the same time, this is for the try, and this is for the exception, and of course, this is for the exception. And of exception. Exception is just like you are trying to trap the error. Okay. Now we will save the code here. Save code. All right. Let us run the program. Okay. Let's run it here. Okay. Let us refresh that. Okay. We have here uncaught constant counter sum. Okay. That is line number 10. I will check it. Okay. Where is that number 10? That is number 10. If I set session counter. All right. So we need to say, of course, the session is not defined yet at the top of the program. But again, we have the session start from the start. Okay, let us first. We will check if there are some, or there is some errors in this program. And of course, it is obviously that if we run this code, of course, we have this error here. We forgot to put the single quotations to enclose the single quotations for the variable. Okay, well, here, of course, we have the something is wrong, but again, we can, of course, use this thing. Of course, I already remember that. We can use the, what was that again? What I forgot. Okay, let us use the string E for now. And I know what, okay, so oops, again, this is wrong. We can transfer this code at the top of the program. Okay, Control C. And then instead of using this echo, well, of course, we can use this. But of course, no, that is also correct. No, oops, again, this is wrong. All right, now let us check what will happen. File, save, and then we're gonna save this program again, and then we transfer that code to, we run the program again, the other side of the of the browser. Now let us again erase this thing. Okay, we have cl point php, and then let us run the p2. Remember, we have two programs right now. We have the p1 and p2. So if you run the program p1, it will of course reserve the amount of those data to p2. That is your session. If you run this program, automatically we have this error in number 29. What is that number 29? Let us check that. So echo E meaning to say end of file. That is, of course, obviously that's a minor error. That is the semicolon. Okay, let us save it again. Okay, that's how you write a program. It's more on trial and error. When we run the program, that is number 18 again. Okay, what is 18? You know, I think the code is starting now to provide us more and more error. Throw, new exception, oops, okay. Maybe, of course, I will replace this with echo, a plain echo. Okay. Oops. Again, this is wrong. Okay. Let us wrap it up. And then, of course, run the go again. Save it. Then, let's save it. Where's that code? Okay. Refresh. Okay, oops, this is wrong. Now, the purpose of this store exception is like it will control the program. But of course, there is a statement right here. I forgot. I mean, what is that message? Well, of course, now you can comment below if you want. So string E. Okay, this is to catch the exceptions at the top. So this will control all exceptions. We start with a try statement and we end up with the exception here. So again, if this program it will be started before the P1 program, automatically it won't what you call this. It won't display all the results because of the limited exceptions that was encountered by this program. Now let us run it again. Okay, I'll save it, file, and then save. And then, of course, you go to your browser. Let us run it again. At the same time, we will apply now the clear session program. And then we start with the first program, that is P1. Okay. Remember, we have two session variable in P1. That is, these are what? Okay, P, XX, and we have, of course, the counter. Now, this is marking the counter. Okay. Now, let us run the P2. So in P2, this will display now, of course, the counter. F, this is displaying the owner of the site. So there may be as the owner of the site. But again, we need also to check, of course, the counter. So if you want to display the counter right here, of course, we can provide the counter at the bottom, or maybe at the top, or maybe here. Okay. So let us check it here. Okay, echo, and then let's say string session, and then we need to display counter for the times of site that is visited. Okay, this is it. And then we have to save it again, save, and then go back to our page here. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can see that this is moving at the right side. Okay, now let us assume that you have, of course, created this session in another page. And every time that you want to display this page with your image, well, of course, we can do that. How to do that? No, I mean, this is quite simple. Okay, let us, of course, check some of the pages for for this one. So we can use, of course, this thing. Or maybe we can use this thing. Okay, we have here Google. Then we have here to use the pixels. Okay, and then we check, of course, the pictures right here. Then we have here cartoons. Of course, see pictures. Cartoons. Oops, cartoons. Okay, so we have the picture right here. So I need to download this thing. All right. We can copy, of course, the address of this program and then put it here. Okay. For example, this is the site that you want to be protected. So we have to put it right here. So you cannot open the site unless otherwise. But of course, you have the session started in the previous program. Now, we will move it right here and then let's say image search src equals to, let's say we're gonna put here, of course, that image that is Control V, and then that's the image. Okay, so from there we have, of course, the website. Now we save this program. Okay, save. All right, and then we will go right here in our page. Okay, where's that page? Cartoons, and then of course localhost. Okay, this is our localhost. Let's just check if this is still alive. That's very important because if you don't have the sub, then you cannot run your PHP program. So we can use to the project one. This is where I store the program, and then we're gonna what you call this clear first the session using the CL1. Remember the CL1 program? Okay, I stand corrected. It is not CL1 but CL. Of course, no. The program in the CL is to destroy all the session. Meaning to say whatever session that was stored or maybe marked by the engine, it will be destroyed. Okay, we can use also the unset for that, but of course that will be the next part of our lesson. So the P1 is just like our key program here. We stored first all the session, initializing all the variables here in the session, and then we fetch it in P2. Now in P2 we added this statement. Of course, what's the statement in P2? So we added, of course, for example, we're just creating, a simple a page for that. If somebody will open your program in P2 without passing first the P1, then automatically it will say, of course, this is a restricted area. Why? Because for one thing, for session start from P1 and all the variables originated in this area, not in this area. We only fetch the information from P1 to P2. Now let us save this again. Okay, let us run the program. What will happen if we did not run, of course, the P1 and instead we jump immediately to P2? All right, let us check that. Okay, so we have here, of course, the program. Okay, now what will happen? Let us check again. Okay, local host. So we need first to destroy all the session here from the start. Before you destroy the session, well, of course, you should have the session underscore start. And of course, you have the session underscore destroy. Okay, enter. So we have the session cleared here. Now, we will not or bypass the P1. Let's go to P2. When you run the P2, automatically, oops, again, this is wrong. So where is that error? The error is something is right here. Oops, again, this is wrong. Why? What happened? Well, because we bypass, of course, the program in P1. Now, I remember already, how to use this thing, but I think this is, just like, now you can use the get message. Okay, the purpose of this is, of course, to display the errors, but of course, we have already used this one. Okay, let's focus more on the session. Now after what's next? So the next part is, of course, again, what if we save this? What if we again run the first part of the program? Okay, let us run the first part of the program. Remember, P1, that's where we stored all the variables for the session. So this is where we mark the counter. Now, well, you can tweak this code. How to do that? Meaning to say you can apply in P1, but of course, once the session is stored, later on, if you go advanced and of course create your database and tables, you can store sessions for your database applications and of course connect it with the other pages. So the same thing right here. So this is basic, but again, you can tweak this out. So we started to create a session right here directly. We have two sessions. We have two variables for sessions. And then if this session is correct, what will happen? No, you can still, of course, use the header location right here. And then your page. You put your page point, PHP, or PHP point stem. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now, we have already activated the P1 here, and then we will proceed to P2. Let's check if that image will be displayed in P2. So automatically we have here, okay, this is now the site. Now, it starts in page 2, but we can rectify that. Okay, now, let's go back here. Okay, so this is the significance, this is the importance of using the session in your program. This can be used, of course, across the website so that you can remember, of course, the different, what you call this, so that you can recall, you can fetch and protect your websites from the intruders, and you can create a strong and a better website. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and at the same time, please don't forget to share and like the video. Thank you.